All right, everybody, it is 2 o'clock, my time. And so that means we are at the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and dive in to talk about what we are here to talk about today. So thanks for taking the time to join me for the Why M2 webinar, where we'll discuss the evolution from the Swivl Robot to M2. It's slated for 15 minutes, but my goal is to get you out before then because who doesn't love the gift of time back? Our agenda for today is to keep things short and sweet so that you guys get to know the information and then tackle all of the other things that Spring has on your to-do list. For that reason, I won't be doing a Q&A part for this webinar. If you do have questions, you can email them to me. I'll provide my address at the end of the webinar. Again, my name is Katie. I am y'all's account manager, so I'm here to help with whatever it is you need. As you can see, I'll start off by giving you some background context as to why this was deemed important by Swivl to create. We'll compare the two products, discuss what else it can do, and go on to next steps from there. So to understand the why behind M2, it's important to paint a bit of the background picture as to why the creation of M2 makes sense. Many of you have likely used or are familiar with the Swivl Robot, which is the pioneering tool that transformed how we capture classroom activities and teacher instruction. For years, the Swivl Robot has been trusted in classrooms worldwide, enabling educators to record their lessons with an automated tracking and high-quality audio. However, that partnership has brought up some major learnings, among which is, as we talked with our partners in education over time, we found that there can be several barriers to a successful video coaching program. It's not impossible, but some things kept popping up. One of the first ones was not all teachers feel comfortable with classroom recording. This hesitation stems from many different reasons, of course, but without teacher buy-in, the foundation of video coaching becomes unstable, limiting participation and potential growth opportunities. The next one is finding time. Time is always the magical, elusive thing. So finding adequate time to watch recordings and engage in meaningful reflection presents a substantial hurdle. Making a recording doesn't really mean anything if you don't actually watch it. So you can record it, but if you don't find the time to watch it, it doesn't do anything. The last part ties in really well with that. It's talking about feedback delays. So when the coach or administrator finally is able to watch and connect with their teacher, the feedback can arrive too long after the recorded lesson, significantly diminishing its impact. So the question from Swivl became, how do we help with that? Enter M2. We've coined him as the intelligent co-teacher meant to help make teaching enjoyable. One thing that is important to note, M2 is able to do all of the things that you know and love about Robot, but it's also been simplified for you. The main thing for you to know is that M2 gives you the recording experience of Robot that you know and love. You can see an example on the screen, among which probably my favorite part of the simplification of the recording experience. There's a lot, but it's an all-in-one setup. So no longer do you need to have a tablet, have cables that walk away, have that floor stand, have it fall over. It's all in one. You set it down, log in, boom, you're off and running. In addition to that, you can still do video coaching with them too. It seamlessly integrates with our video coaching platform, Reflectivity. So everything for you will be the same there. But here's the best part with all of this. With Robot, that's where the usefulness ends. People have reached out to me before and like, Katie, what else can I do with my robots? Record, that's about it. So where the Robot ends, M2 continues on. The way M2 works is that it is set up out of the way in the classroom. The teacher simply sets them down, logs into their account, and walks away. It's just that easy. You see the same marker around her neck, just like you do with the Robot. So M2 can record, but it can also simply listen. Its screensaver are these eyes that let you know that he's there, he's listening, but it also serves as a privacy screen for the teacher. Here's why that is needed. While M2 listens, he provides feedback live in the moment to the teacher. This happens when M2 is in listening mode. This is an amazing step forward to help with all teachers, letting them have equal access to growth opportunities, regardless of how often a coach or administrator can be in the classroom, or how willing the teacher is to letting their instruction be recorded. I'm going to pause a minute so that you can read some of the feedback on the screen before I move on to part 2. If you're curious about how the feedback is generated, we can definitely talk about that in depth at a later time. Let's go ahead though and move on to the next part. The next piece that is added into M2 is the co-teacher piece. Because M2 listens to everything you say, he can step in and help out at any moment. If you have a teacher that struggles with engagement strategies, he can model questions. If you have a teacher that could use help with some content knowledge, he can help explain things. He can summarize the whole lesson at the end of class as well and give a good wrap-up discussion question. He can repeat instructions for the teacher, which is amazing because you always have that kid that doesn't listen. And it can translate things into almost any language. All of this appears on his screen, and it's also read out loud for everyone to hear. The only limitation to using this co-teacher feature is your imagination. We've had teachers use M2 for lesson planning and to help with classroom management. It's been so fun to hear all the ways teachers put him to work. I actually just learned the other day that he can speak with accents, which was pretty fun to play with. I tried a Boston accent and a Texan accent, which I am from Texas, and so it was funny listening to him try to sound like a Texan. There are some functionalities that allow for student-facing activities like the ability to run small groups. There's a huge AI boost coming to this part this summer, so stay tuned for more information on that. The last piece speaks to reflective practices. Because M2 listened and gave feedback throughout class, he can also guide teachers through a smart, reflective, verbal conversation over what the teacher experienced when they have a break. So it does not have to be in the moment. It can be on the M2 device itself. It can also be on the teacher's own device. What happens is they talk through the experience with the M2, learning to articulate and kind of walk through what just happened and what they're thinking. And then it gives them AI feedback that is encouraging because teaching is hard, but it also gives suggestions on paths forward. And so while we're waiting to have that coaching and growth conversation, I at least have tools in my toolbox to help me figure out how to navigate better. So this is a great ally between coaching conversations for the teacher. They're still finding a way forward while they're waiting to be able to work with whoever it is they're working with. You can take that one step down and have M2 assign out exit ticket verbal reflections to your students that they can do on their own personal devices as well. They can go up to the M2 and do a reflection there. That's totally fine, but it's also accessible on the kiddo's laptop, so you just push it out with a link. It's super easy. The same idea applies. The M2 knows what was covered in class, so it generates smart, teacher-approved questions that the kids are asked out loud. They reply out loud, so we're making kids talk through their learning, which sometimes is a better representation than having to write it out. And in just under 1 to 2 minutes, the teacher gets immediate insights on student understanding so that instructional practices can then be adjusted. It's really powerful. So that is just the tip of the iceberg of what M2 can do. If you're interested, you can add some time on our calendars to dive more into it. You can also email me anytime at the address on the screen, or you can check out some user stories on the blog address I provided for you guys. Swivl has some amazing things out now, and there are even greater plans for the future. If there's anything I can do for you guys, I'd love to hear from you. For now, this replay will be available and sent out shortly. For those of you that registered for this event, You will be getting something special from me in your inbox within the next 24 hours, so be on the lookout for something from Swivl. I'm getting you guys out of here ahead of time, so thank you all so much. I hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and hopefully I get to hear from you soon.